Hey, what's up guys? Darkbreaker here. On the new patch 6.0 we had massive changes, and you guys might be wondering, how did this affect the tier list? How did it affect the meta? We have new items, we have rune adjustments, we have the new champion rumble. The new season is out since Friday. So I hope you guys had some lovely games already in ranked. Probably not, but I'm just gonna say yes. I hope you had some lovely games with new items. We have the huge and durability patch. Honestly, I have to say, in my opinion, the durability patch is not that massive. You will notice it in the early game and in full late game, but it's just a slight change. And I think actually the sudden impact change is bigger in the early game for assassins than the HP changes they did for champions. Obviously for trading in the early game, level probably like till level 5, you will notice some differences in trading. But I mean, to be fair, the opponent also got the same amount of HP, so it might take like one auto attack longer to kill someone, but it's not that big of a difference, in my opinion. And Random, for example, says the same, that he says he doesn't notice anything about the durability, but the sudden impact changes. And I have to agree with that opinion. So we're gonna start with the tier list. I hope you guys will enjoy it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'm gonna show you at the beginning of each section all champions, an overview, and then I'm going to talk about the biggest changes, or where I think the patch had the biggest impact, or which champions I want to highlight for the tier list. Let's first start talking about the biggest changes, in my opinion, in this patch. It's definitely the Herald. I love the Herald. The Herald is really good for sieging right now. You can secure the first turret gold pretty easily. Wait, where is it? New game modes. It must be earlier. Is it earlier? Here. Not yet. Oh, here. And the new Baron. New Baron and new Elder are like, the new Baron for sieging is really good, and it's hard to stop because you have that one minion that is healing the entire wave. That is really good. Like, really good for sieging. If you get Baron, you should be able to get at least 1 tier 3 turret or even more. The red buff change is also, like the enchanted buff change is also really good in the late game. If someone takes the buff, everyone gets it. A really massive change. Otherwise, the Elder execution is super strong. If you get Elder, you should be winning the game. And if you have both Elder and Baron, unless you're doing a massive mistake, you should be winning the game. Like, these big objectives are super strong, and you should try to not flip them and try to only siege them or go for them when the enemy jungler is dead and maybe a few other people are also dead, and then you can secure it safely. Don't flip it, because I see a lot of people just want to flip the objectives because they're stupid, but don't do that. The teleport change is also nice. Otherwise, quick Lux, not bad. Diana got nerfed. Finch got slightly nerfed, but he also, like, the durability patch benefits him. Cannon slight buff, Teemo slight buff, Amumu. Amumu is probably the highlight of this patch. Fizz got the slight buff, Corki got the slight buff. And let's just start with the tier list for Baron lane. Like I said, Sinch got this nerf, but he's still very strong because of his, I mean, the free dash is just too good. Even though you can interrupt it now, I can just show you so you understand. Sinch has the highest win rate in Baron lane. In mid lane, okay, support, he's falling off in support though, but mid lane and top lane, he has the highest win rate based on the Chinese server. So that's massive, and you have to see 15% ban rate. He is so popular that a lot of people are banning him right now. And yeah, especially with Liandry in the late game, the percentage damage is super good because people have more HP now. Champions that have true damage or percentage damage are even better in the late game right now than beforehand. Camille has true damage. Camille true damage, one of the best split pushers in the game, and her ultimate is excellent to catch people, and she has a lot of mobility. One of the best duelists in the game. Then we have Gwen. Also, benefits from the changes. Everyone has more resistance, everyone has more HP. She has the true damage, she has the 1 versus 9 factor in the late game. Jax, one of the strongest late game split pushers. Then we have Seth. I just love Seth because I think his kit is super good for solo queue and for team fighting, because he has the true damage as well. He has massive gameplay, massive team play potential, because he has so much. He can make so many plays happen with his ultimate or with his flash, pulling them together, and then the second ability. If you land a massive second ability, you can do so much true damage. Then we have Olaf, also with true damage. You guys can figure out the theme of this patch. Champions with true damage are really good against a lot of team comps. Olaf is a very strong situational pick, and I think he also has one of the highest win rates right now. In the last patch, he actually was top 1. I am not sure why, because I feel like he is very snowball reliant, but I think he's such a niche pick. Pick rate, what's the pick rate? 2%. I think he's just a very niche pick that you pick him into tanky compositions or melee compositions, similar to like a Darius. Darius also benefits from the fact that he has true damage, and if you're playing against tanky compositions, he's really good against them. Otherwise, we have Rumble. I think Rumble is solid. He's very good in team fights. In the early game, he might struggle against a few champions, but I think when he has a few items, gets into the team fight with his ultimate, he is really good, by the way. Otherwise, not much changed. Teemo, I've moved Teemo up. Teemo is really good right now, and in the late game with Liandry, if you get into the late game, and the average solo queue games will go pretty long, that's why Kayle has one of the highest win rates, even though I hate her. If she gets into the late game, she will end up winning most of the times because her impact, or she's so strong in the late game. But if I'm playing here and I have good stats, I will get punished by having bad teammates, and I will get perma-ganked, and I have to... It just doesn't work. Like, the average K player has shit stats, plays like dog shit, and then gets boosted by having good teammates. It's like this sign effect. Just works for Kayle even better, because she gets into the late game, and late game she has so much value, and she always... All the K players have shit stats, so they get good players. It's the... You guys should already understand the matchmaking system by now, or the team maker system by now, that I don't need to understand. I don't need to explain it, right? Otherwise, Cyan, Grasp got nerfed, by the way, because you get more sustain, you can stack up more, but you have less damage. I think I moved Warwick down. Warwick got a pretty big nerf. He doesn't feel as strong anymore as beforehand. Otherwise, I feel like most is fair play, and you guys should understand it. Ranged champions like Vayne, Tristana, can be very good against the right team comps, or against the right matchup, but you have to consider, if you get ganked, then you can't play the game. Or like you play against Camille. Camille with fleet footwork can already beat them 1 vs 1, and then Assassin Jungler is also camping you. You can't play the game. I think otherwise the rest is fine here. Let's move on to jungle. Yeah, this is it. You guys can watch it for a few seconds. Amumu is... Okay, let's just talk about Embessa. Embessa is the strongest jungler right now. She is insane. Even though they nerf Sun Impact, you don't have to play Sun Impact. You can also play Overgrowth. Doesn't matter. She's just so good. Too much mobility, shielding, damage, everything. And you guys will see it here. 58% win rate. 10% appearance rate, 66% ban rate. Like, Riven also has 34% ban. Okay, it doesn't make sense, by the way. It's probably because sample pool is pretty small right here still. But in my opinion, she's still very strong. Amumu. Let's talk about Amumu, because Amumu got a massive buff. He does way more damage now than beforehand. He was already a top 10 pick in terms of win rate. If we're just looking at the average win rate on the Chinese server, he was already top 7. And teamfight orientated champions will always have higher win rates, in my opinion, on average. Doesn't necessarily mean they are the best to carry the game. But Amumu got pretty strong with the update because everyone is more tanky, everyone has more resistance, and he has the percentage damage. Plus, he does more damage now. Like, they gave him way more damage, and the more HP you have, the more damage you will also do. And here as well, the Tantrum, damage reduction from passive also got increased. The more resistance you have, the more damage reduction you will get. And since everyone has since he got naturally more resistance from this patch, he obviously will get more damage reduction on top of that. So Amumu, in my opinion, really good. I mean, I'm putting him here because I'm assuming he will be one of the highest win rates in this patch. But if I was like, for myself, for my personal playstyle, I would put him here. Because I don't think he's a champion that can carry every single time 1 versus 9. I mean, watch my last video I've made of Amumu. I've played really, really good, by the way. I carried the team, but if you have bad players or your bot lane is bad, you will not win the game. You will not win the game if your carries are bad as a tank. It always is the same as a solo queue player. You need to play a champion that can carry the game 1 versus 9. And if you can carry the game 1 versus 9, are you actually an S+ tier champion? I mean, Amumu can be extremely strong in team fights because his ultimate is goated, but at the same time, if your ADC is dog shit, you will still lose the game. That's my opinion. That's why I usually don't put S+ like champions that are tanky into S+ tier. But I think for Amumu, I will just put him here because he will probably have like 55% win rate and just dominate. You guys will see in 1 week or 2 weeks, this guy will have 55% win rate. Top 3 jungler. Top 3 jungler most likely. Gwen, hard to play, but if you play into the right team comp, her true damage and her hyper carry potential are insane. Shyvana, also one of the best 1 versus 9 solo queue champions, in my opinion. I usually never lose on this champion because she is that strong in terms of carrying the game. You power farm, you scale like a truck, and then you just run everyone down. Why do I love champions that have a similar kit to Vi? Why do I think bruisers like Vi are really good? She has very good initiation tools. She has great jungle clear speed. Her ganking potential is crazy. She's super tanky and still does a lot of damage. So if most of the times your solo queue supports will pick enchanters and you will not have frontline. If you pick a champion like Vi or Jarvan, they are tanky, they have enough damage to kill the enemy backline. That's why I love champions like Vi and Jarvan, because you are your own tank, you can initiate, you can set up for the team because you have an enchanter support. And if you're playing solo queue, you will always have enchanter supports 90% of the times. So that's why I usually pick those type of bruisers, because they're self-sustained. Self-sustained, they are their own playmakers that soak damage and set up for the team. That's why champions like Vi, Shyvana, Ambassador kind of needs a tank, but she is also not bad. Jarvan, Olaf, for example, Hecarim, are really good. Oh, Darius is also pretty good with the new item, but I think he's very situational because of he's easy to kite, that's his problem. Otherwise, let's talk about the 2 damage champions. Diana got nerfed, so I moved her down. She can still be very good though. Sudden impact nerf though. Sudden impact nerf. That hurts her, obviously. Everyone else gets more tanky a bit. It doesn't impact too much, but she also got a pretty big nerf otherwise. Lilia, true damage late game. Morgana, percentage damage late game with Liandry. Neela, can be a very good hyper carry with the right team comp, and she also has the armor penetration against tanks, by the way. That's why she's doing really good right now. Otherwise, I don't think I have to talk anything special. Fizz got buffed. Warwick is still okay. I'm just putting Rumble 8 here. I think he's decent. For Rumble Jungle, I need to play him more. I think he's decent though. But I wouldn't put him S tier. Maybe if I play him more and I see, oh, never mind, he can be even stronger. But for now, I think he's just standing at the A tier, that's fine. Otherwise, that's it for jungle. I mean, you can obviously always argue and put people one up or one down. Doesn't really matter that much. For mid lane, yeah, Singed. Even though Singed got nerfed, he's still dominating. He's just that good. His kit with the free, he was. If you think about the fact, before he got this massive buff, he was in competitive for a super long time. One of the best mid lane picks. Because he can just push the wave. He pushes the wave and then he can roam and force fights. And with the free fling dash, it's even way easier now. Because beforehand, you needed the protobot to reach someone, but now you can always free dash onto someone to pick them off. That's why he has such a high win rate, by the way. If you guys wondering why I'm talking like 58% win rate on Singe in mid lane. Because it's not about him 1v1ing people. He doesn't need to 1v1 people. He just has to clear the wave and then he roams. He helps the jungler to set up ganks, or he ganks on the side lane. And then he also skates like a monster, by the way. The ability, his free ability to pick people off while being super tanky and having so, he activates ultimate ghost, he runs you down, then third ability, you're getting pushed into the enemy team, and then you're just destroyed. That's why he's so strong. When he's snowballing and into the late game, he's super tanky. He does decent amount of damage even though he's tanky, and his setup potential is one of the best in the game. That's why he's that strong. Victor, I already said it in the last patch, Victor is really good, utility wise and damage wise. Lux got buffed, by the way. Zoe, I mean, I think this is pretty self-explained why I put them there. Katarina got buffed, that's why I moved her up. I think it's fine. I think that this is fine. I mean, some people will argue, hey, maybe put someone in S tier, or maybe the other one should put in A tier. It's just an orientation, remember this. I mean, it's not like a fix. Like, for example, let's say Aurelia. If you play Aurelia against, let's say you play Aurelia against a Lux, for example, who is very squishy, or Aurelia against Seraphine or whatever else, she can be S tier, depending on the matchup. It always depends on the matchup. Like, some champions excel against other champions better or into certain compositions. This is just my general feeling where I think they belong, but obviously they can move up, or like this. It doesn't really matter that much. It's just an orientation for you guys. In the end, it's all about the player skill. You can play, I don't know, you could play Teemo mid lane and become challenger. You could play Seraphim mid lane and become challenger. It doesn't matter. If you have good macro, that's already the biggest, like good positioning, good macro, knowing how to farm, knowing how to join team fights, knowing when to join team fights, blah blah blah. These are way bigger metrics than the champion itself. Like, for example, I don't even have a main champion right now. I had last season 70% win rate playing mostly solo queue, and I got master within 70 games, 70% win rate. And for you guys wondering, I don't play that much because I'm working full time. So I'm just playing for fun for you guys, basically, to get content out sometimes. Yeah. And I think I'm doing very good for the fact that I'm not playing that much, because I'm playing every time I get the win on one champion, I'm immediately trying out a new champion because I want more content. I could just spam Ambassador, or I could just spam Shyvana, and I'm telling you guys, if I was just spamming Shyvana, I would most likely win most of my games even. But I'm trying every single game a different champion so I get new content. But you can just abuse one champion. You can just master one champion and grind with it. You can become one-trick pony brand, but if you know how to position, if you know all the matchups, etc., you cannot get with any champion challenger, by the way, if you guys wondering. ADC didn't move that much. Tristana, Caitlyn are the two ADCs I hate the most. That's why I put them S tier. Corki got buffed, also really strong right now. Otherwise, nothing. I don't think ADC changed. Nothing too special. We can check like the. I mean, since I'm not an ADC main, I don't really. I mean, I kind of know the matchups, but I don't. I think Draven can be very good right now. Though Draven with a new item, like if the support is the new item and you play with Draven, you can snowball into oblivion. 30 HP, 30 HP, 30 HP, 30 HP, 20 HP, 40 HP, 30 HP. I'm just checking the ADCs if there's big difference. Not really. Not really. All kind of similar. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think Tristana, Caitlyn are just the best. Everyone else is just... If I had to put like... Everyone between S and A tier, they're all very similar. They're all so similar, I don't even want to distinct between them necessary. Because they're all strong depending on the team comp or depending on your support. If you have the right support, you play duo Q, you can make any ADC work. I don't think there's a big difference between all of them. A Draven, for example, is someone who can snowball very well with an more engaging support in the beginning. Lucian is overall very strong at every stage of the game. Misfortune with the ultimate is very good. Corki's package is good for team fighting. Ezreal is, for example, a very strong late game poking champion. Varus is a strong poking champion. Then we have the hyper carries in the late game like Jinx, Twitch, Vayne, and Zeri. These all can be very good when they get into the late game. I don't think there's that much of a big difference. Like when I play against ADCs, the only two ADCs I actually worry about in late game are Tristana and Caitlyn. Caitlyn usually dominates in the early game, and then they siege the first turret, and then they siege every other turret. And a Draven can also be very, like, if a Draven snowballs, he's also very strong, same for Lucian. But otherwise, I don't feel like the ADCs, I wouldn't consider them like, wow, they are so dangerous. One ADC, I have to ban that ADC. I don't feel like whenever I'm banning champions, I don't feel like I need to ban any ADCs. Like ADCs don't matter to me. If I was playing ADC, I would not even ban an ADC because it doesn't really matter to me. Like the matchups don't matter that much. And the champions that you're facing don't matter that much. Like I'm like, whatever. But if I see a champion like a Singed, or like a Yuumi, or Ambassador, maybe even a Mumu, these are champions I'm like, wow, I need to ban them. And it doesn't matter what position I play, I just ban them for the fact that they are OP. And for ADCs, I don't feel like, wow, there's an ADC that is outstanding. I need to ban them. I can't face that champion. It's too hard. I don't have the feeling for ADCs, to be fair. Now for supports. Yuumi must ban. It's just a must ban. Yuumi on a hyper carry in late game, you can't win the game. You can't, like, you will hurt yourself by not, like, if you allow Yuumi into a game, you're hurting yourself. Soraka with the new changes, super strong, by the way. If you have two tanks in the team, and tanks are even more tanky right now, and you have a Soraka, you play front to back, Soraka becomes one of the best champions in the game. Because with the new... she heals more. Like, the items are giving her more healing, and there was... which item was it again? That gives way more healing right now than beforehand. Let me check, where is it? New items. No. Wait, here somewhere? Giant Slayer. Item prices. Okay, I think here somewhere was the healing. Shit. Oh yeah, here are, for example, the The rune changes? No, this is not for... I'm wrong, this is not for gameplay changes. Here. Sudden Impact is probably, like, this is a big nerf though, for Sudden Impact. Like, Assassins got nerfed by the Sudden Impact change. Okay, here somewhere. Which item was it again that gives more healing now? Harmonic Echo, here. If the target's health is below 40%, healing potency is increased to 150% of the original. Champions that heal, like if Soraka is healing a tank that is low life, she's gonna heal them almost full. Soraka's healing is absolutely broken right now. Especially like, imagine you have a Singed and you're always healing up the Singed. Or you're healing up the Amumu that has percentage damage the whole time. Or even like the Shivan or something. Like, if you have frontline, she's insane. Lux also got buffed, her wave clear is better. Really good. On Singed. I mean, all these tanky supports are all very good. Jarvan is good for playmaking. Pyke with the new item, also excellent. I don't think there's nothing, like, nothing changed here. I moved on into this because he is the highest win rate. I think the sample pool is just small, by the way. The sample size must be small. Yeah, tanks are stronger now. Tanks are just stronger now. And anti-tanks are also better. So we have tanks that got stronger and anti-tanks that are better in this patch. Otherwise, yeah, anti-tanks. Amumu, Gwen, Lilia, Morgana, Neela. Or like insane playmakers like Singed. Yes, ADC stay. Honestly, I feel like ADC stays the same. Like, I feel like ADC. I think Random said ADC had the biggest change, but I don't feel like. I mean, they are a little bit more tanky in the early game. For the matchup, doesn't matter. Assassins can't kill. Assassins got nerfed slightly, and ADCs got a little bit more HP. It doesn't. I mean, I feel like I can still one-shot any ADC. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, in my opinion, tanks and anti-tanks benefit the most from this patch, and enchanters. Enchanters are actually stronger. Enchanters in combination with a good tank are. If you have this setup, this is really, really strong, by the way. Enchanters and tank in combination. Actually, casters got so much HP. I think they got 60 HP each. But 60 HP is not that much. I think that's 10% more, right? 10% more HP for mages. It benefits them in the early game for sure. Like pre level 5 ganks, it's a little bit harder to get the first blood. Yeah. Getting first blood is harder, but when you're snowballing, you will not notice the difference. For example, if I get armor penetration boots after a kill or after the first gank, you will not notice the HP or the armor, etc. You will not notice the changes because this is so minimal. Like, this is basically 10% more HP / resistance, or around 10%. I'm just saying, I mean, this is obviously not 10%, but still, this is 10%, this less than 10%, this 20%, but it is magic resistance, but you're assassin, so you have physical damage, 10%. Let's say around 10% more tanky, and they nerf Sun Impact, so as an assassin, you will notice in the early game it's slightly harder to kill someone, but once you're snowboarding, you have the first armor penetration item, it doesn't matter. That's my opinion. In the full late game, you will also notice a slightly more tankiness, but not that much. But yeah, that's going for the tier list. That's my opinion so far for this patch. You guys can write down below what you guys think about this patch and about the tier list and what you would change and what you guys think are the strongest champions right now in this patch. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.